you very much and good afternoon to everybody. So today I'm here to present this contribution titled New Approach and Tools for the Governance of Historic Urban Landscape, the Role of Resilient Communities, as part and an output of the ROC project that was already introduced by my colleague before. So the problems that we have when we deal not only with an object leading to cultural heritage, but with historic urban landscape, so with cities, is that we have a kind of double soul. So on one end, historic urban landscape is a patchwork of environmental, climatic, and social vulnerabilities. On the other hand, is a valuable treasure chest of tangible and intangible cultural inheritance. This makes it a privileged experimental lab, so we're testing new community-based strategies with the aim of increasing the city resilience. In fact, when we act and we implement actions in existing urban systems that have a very important cultural heritage, resilience starts to become a very important aspect to be taken into consideration. Not only the resilience to unexpected events, so to shocks, that can damage historic urban landscape, causing loss of values, but also resilience to slower events that can cause stresses to the tangible and intangible cultural heritage. That, for example, slower economic crises or microclimatic constraints in site-specific places. Also, failure in regeneration actions that, for example, sometimes can cause gentrification that lead to problem to the authenticity also of the intangible cultural heritage of an area. So city resilience is important everywhere in each city, but when applied to historic urban landscape, an even deeper attention is needed in order not only to address shock and stresses affecting life and the quality of life of its citizens, but also those that can affect the fragile past and present culture, tangible and intangible phenomena. And it is trying to address this specific challenge that a community-based approach is really important and very important, because when we act in those complex and interrelated environments such as historic urban landscape, people and community are part of this complexity, and they can give us not only a support in defining what kind of action we can implement, but also a very site-specific knowledge that is necessary for understanding really what can be the actions that mitigate resilience. In fact, it is for this reason that the project would like to work on the social dimension on resilience and toward the creation of a kind of resilient community inside the area of experimentation. When we speak about resilient community, we don't speak only about citizens, but we are trying to develop a multi-layered governance methodology that includes not only citizens, but also local stakeholders, policymakers, public administration, and university, because we believe that is the integration between all these persons that really can create the resilient community. This is the general methodology of the project. So as already said before, we are working, merging actions that have already been tested in several role model cities and try to apply, but not in a replicator way, but adapting strategies that were successful in other cities, to adapt them into the site specificity of 3 replicator cities, which are Lisbon, Skopje, and Bologna. And we work with a methodology that we call research, action research, because we start from gaining a deep knowledge on the site-specific level. We co-build and co-design with the community scenarios that lead to prototypes, so to a kind of actions that are prototyping and testing inside the living environment. And after the pilot version has been implemented, we can gain again a deeper knowledge on the results, because we monitor continuously the actions. the process and the methodology that we propose is, of course, circular, and it is focused on people. And a key tool intended as a very practical tool that we have developed and we are now testing into the 3 replicator cities is the integrated management plan. That starts from this idea that everything must be really co-designed with the community. The integrated management plan starts from analyzing and giving as a starting point the UNESCO management plan, but working on enhancing the integration between different levels. So we start from defining key areas inside the cities. We then go through the identification of scenarios, and now we are focusing mainly on accessibility, sustainability, and new collaboration. And then we go through defining for each cities which are some very specific, very important themes on which create a task force, not only inside the municipality level, but also in the form of living labs inside the community, involving association, local stakeholders, administrative staff, etc. Then we integrate the results of this working table in the integrated management plan that, of course, take also in consideration the existing plans and the existing events and everything with which we can cluster inside the city. This is one of the key tools that we are using for co-designing. So it's a very practical tool that we are using inside this task force and inside this meeting with the local communities, because we really saw that we needed to make people focus on some parts that are really important for implementing action at the same time. So we need the integration between all these levels. So we start from defining a macro actions according with a measured theme, for example, accessibility. We define sub-actions. We try to ask to the community which are the stakeholders that they think they need to involve, which are the target groups, which are the expected impacts in different time frames, so in the short, medium, and long term, which are the barriers and the risk that they see into the implementation of the actions, the strategy to overcome barriers, and then we co-work with them in defining the enablers. Of course, this approach and this fact sheet is very practical, and it is based on a paper, on a sheet of paper, because this phase we really need to write down and design with the communities these elements, but then we go to the integration as enabler to different digital tools which are listed here, and that we use and we explain to the communities that all these tools can be used. We are not forced to use everything, but if some actions can have benefits from using this typology of tools, we can then use some of them. So we have, of course, the Rock Web platform. We have augmented reality technologies. We have creative industries green tools, opinion analytics and video network analytics, which are developed by a university inside the consortium that can somehow detect and create some kind of sentiment analysis when people pass, for example, inside the square or inside the streets. We have sensors that allow us to detect large crowd monitoring. And then we have all the environmental and climate tools. So we work with the outdoor multi-parameter tool, outdoor thermal comfort, indoor microclimate monitoring. And for example, for this tool, we are developing a very interesting pilot intervention inside an ancient library of the University of Bologna. We work with lights as an enabling tool that is also co-designed with the communities. And we also have people flow analytics. And Next Friday, we will have a testing phase of these tools inside the city of Bologna, and it will very focus on accessibility. So we have a lot of associations of disability persons that will participate with us, and we will give to them these small sensors, and for 2 hours they will go inside the testing area and pointing out hidden treasures of the area, but also physical or not physical barriers. And we are also trying to ask to them to point out some kind of sentiment, for example, when they pass in a specific street or places, for example, linked with security, the sense of security, with the light, and etc. I have, for the conclusion, a short video, if it works.
ROC stands for Regeneration and Optimization of Cultural Heritage in Creative and Knowledge Cities. This European-funded project focuses on historic city centres as extraordinary laboratories to demonstrate how cultural heritage can be a powerful engine of regeneration, sustainable development and economic growth for the whole city. ROC believes that cultural heritage should not be static, a vestige of the past only to be preserved, but can be a driving force to bring a new creative energy to cities. Using the past can help build urban futures. The project relies on a circular model as an integrated vision of urban regeneration. This circular model is based on 6 connected pillars: creative, cultural, regeneration, knowledge, security and green circles that interconnect to draw the future of cities. The cultural model is a continuous effort to recognise the city and its transformations as a heritage and common good, in which all the actors that interact with urban transformations are involved with varying degrees of responsibility and awareness. A common cultural past unites communities and empowers people to imagine a shared future. A concrete goal emerges from ROC's central concept: the co-design of actions to create the city's future in a collaborative way. Local actors, associations, students, businesses get together to share visions, knowledge and skills. 2 key concepts of the project are Creative City and City of Knowledge. Creativity and knowledge combined with technological innovation are triggers that fuel the economic and social growth of the city, transforming it sustainably. Environmental sustainability is a golden thread throughout the ROC project, as urban regeneration efforts go hand in hand with our attempts to minimise our impact on the environment and contribute to the resilience of communities to climate change. The ROC model is based on the ambitious development of a shared multicultural, multi-heritage and multi-stakeholders city vision, which integrates heritage-led regeneration, sustainable economic development, city promotion and knowledge sharing. Follow us!
Thank you very much.